Good evening. Welcome to Cape Charles Town Council's public hearing and regular meeting, September the 15th, 2022. Can we get a roll call?
Buckles present.
Holloway present.
Bennett present.
O'Brien present.
Grossman present.
Fulmer present.
I'll let it be known we've established a quorum. Can we all rise for a moment of silence and the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Item 3, public hearing, fiscal year 2023 budget amendment. Have anybody sign up, Ms. Libby?
Nobody has signed up for the public hearing.
Can I get a motion to close the public hearing portion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We don't have any visitors or presentations tonight, so we'll move on to the public comments for items not subject to the advertised public hearing.
Okay, I'm Kathy Fox.
Yep. How you doing, Ms. Fox?
Okay, good. Thanks for the heads up, Kat.
And good evening. My name is Kathy Fox, and I'm here on behalf of the Cape Charles Memorial Library in my capacity as a member of the Board of Directors. Did you know September is Library Card Sign-Up Month? And that's what we're going to do tonight. Ellen is passing out your library card sign-up sheet, as well as some signs that you can put on your doors and your windows to advertise Library Sign-Up Month. So, this month is when the American Library Association and other small community libraries come together to campaign to get as many people to sign up as possible, because membership is really what drives the libraries. And the Cape Charles Memorial Library is participating in this. And you have to remember that the library is not just a lender of books. It's a gateway to technology for our residents and our visitors. It's a training center for driver improvement courses. It's a place to exhibit art, a Wi-Fi hotspot, a repository of Cape Charles's history, an early literacy center for preschoolers, and a gathering place to learn, relax, and explore. Many of you are running for re-election or running for a new seat. Your campaign signs let citizens proclaim their support for you. So I'm asking you this month to proclaim your support for the Cape Charles Library and post one of those signs in your window or on your door. So if you don't already have a membership to the Cape Charles Memorial Library, I encourage you to please do so and support our library. Thank you.
Thanks,
They have a
Kathy.
library sale on, book sale
On Friday.
Friday.
Right. That's, yeah. Good. Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Kath.
No one else has signed up, and I've not received any comments in writing prior to the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Move on to the next order of business, which is the consent agenda. Approval of the agenda format, approval of the minutes, approval of the July the 31st, 2022 financial report. So everybody's looked at that. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. There's this item 7 again with nothing on it. Item 8. New business. Accessory dwelling unit ordinance set public hearing.
Good evening. The Planning Commission did take up and discussed at length again what should be, what tweaks or revisions should they make to the proposed zoning text amendment for your reconsideration. So we have that before you this evening. Those changes are shown in a red italic font. Some of them may look familiar because we kept some of them from the prior version, which you did not object to. We hopefully corrected and made better the rest of the ordinance to where we were trying to resolve some issues. So I'll stop there if you want to have any conversation relative to any element of this. Otherwise, we're hoping you will find this in accordance and we can move this out to public hearing.
So recommendation is to set a public hearing. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we set the public hearing, I guess it's October 20th. We have another motion for another public hearing,
Yes.
right, for October 20th with the changes reflected here as well as changes that we need to reflect in Article 30.
Article 30,
3.
Article 2 for definitions.
No. In Article 3, we have the requirements for conditional use permits and by right. And if we're changing.
Yes, you're
right,
correct.
yeah.
You're correct.
Okay, so that has to be coupled with our advertisement.
Thank you.
As well.
Second. I've got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? I'm left for second. Mr. Coleman?
Well, first, I want to thank staff for responding to my question on some clarification. And I appreciate the work of our citizen volunteers on this. But I will admit I'm a little frustrated. In the previous rejection of the draft, we really only raised a few points that were our reason for that, and then staff and the PC came back to us again, and we again reiterated basically those 3 or 4 points. And one of them was the really vague and broad definition of a kitchen. And admittedly, we also at the same time said, when feasible, let's have consistency with the state building code. But I think giving the feedback twice was maybe a not very subtle way of saying that wasn't a case where we found it feasible. And it's not just semantics. There were substantive reasons that I think the majority of council agreed on that and why we reached consensus. So one is, if you look back through this process, we were given a table comparing the ADU ordinances across the state. And ours was one of the most, if not the most restrictive, which is what we asked for. But then that also provides the need for perhaps greater clarity, which obviously was taken into account in drafting some of the other definitions, because except for what's provided here for the kitchen, actually none of the definitions are from the building code or the administrative code. So the only time it's consistent is the one that we asked to have changed. Even the definition of the ADU itself, sleeping areas, bedroom, bathroom, none of those are consistent. So I wish maybe our feedback had been incorporated better. And also keeping in mind that the last review of the draft came on the heels of a case where someone had sought guidance from previous town management, had done their diligence, thought they were in compliance, and were unfortunately surprised when, after a staff turnover, which traditionally we have a lot of, they were told they were not. So I think that reinforces that we need to write these policies not around individuals. Katie gave me a very useful summary of the procedure she follows and her assumptions, which would seem to mitigate the cause for this, but the next person might not read it quite the same way. And it is our duty to protect our residents from these inconsistencies that can result from staff turnover. So as it reads right now, somebody else can come in and just say, all right, you've got to counter that space for food preparation. And be kind of in the same situation that 420 Randolph found themselves in. So I think we do need to remember the guidance we gave, and I think that was for the definition of a kitchen, needs to have a sink, a refrigerator, we don't have to specify, but, some sort of cooling device. And I think I raised in the last meeting, there's so many different types of heating appliances, and just something for heating food. But I think for the sake of the future clarity, that definition doesn't work.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I just want to say I agree with you, but I also think that you can make an amendment to this motion to add those words into the kitchen at this point.
Okay?
So,
I'm sure my wording will get corrected, because it always does.
Or Paul sitting next to you.
All right, so I move to amend the definition of kitchen to read, but you can just add on to it, means a space within a structure designated for the preparation of food that includes a sink, comma, a refrigerator, comma, and a device for heating food.
Can you repeat it? The refrigerator,
A
heating food?
sink, comma, refrigerator, comma, and a device for heating food. Because I think any specificity in that last area can become quickly obsolete.
And it doesn't need to have storing food?
Sorry?
What's, did you say?
Refrigerator.
Refrigerator, yeah, preserving, yeah. I think,
Got it, sorry.
I don't think freezer's necessary.
and I,
I'm not sure there's just any, I think refrigerator probably.
so for clarification purposes, if you don't mind, I'm just
Yeah.
jump in with Katie just for a second.
Yeah.
Should it say sanitation sink? Or just a sink?
No.
We had just a sink before, and that's what we struck out, so we can throw that back in.
Okay. All right, so we got an amendment to the motion. We get a second?
Did someone second that?
Not yet.
Not
Second.
yet.
No, his second.
She just.
No, yeah, we got a second on the
okay,
first,
okay.
first motion. I'm looking for a second on the
I
amendment.
got it.
Got a second. Any discussion on
The first one.
the amended portion? All right.
So,
all-
wait a minute, I do have some. So the definition of a kitchen is, if you look up kitchen, it says exactly what's written here.
Correct.
So if we're gonna make it clearer, I don't think a device for, how did you word that, heating food? Is, that could be a couple of sticks lit on top of the counter. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that works with fire code, but I think, you could have a microwave, you could have a stove, but I mean, I think there's so many options. I don't think we want to be overly restrictive.
Well,
And I'm not too concerned about the definition, because like I said, none of the other definitions match what's in the state code, so I don't know that we necessarily need to feel bound by that.
What's your thoughts?
well, I mean, we've been doing this for a long time.
I know.
And we've had a lot of good discussion about it. It's now down in the weeds, so my hesitation is the third thing that he wants in the definition, which is a device for heating food. I'm not sure,
Alternative?
I don't know, because I'm happy with the way it was written here.
Well, if you're
Or a
including.
cooking device?
Well, if you're looking at this as a definition, basically, you could be adding refrigeration and a sink for food preparation. Food preparation, you can either heat it, I mean, it's preparations, you're preparing food, so.
Cooking or preparing?
Yeah, cooking or preparing food. Because, I mean, somebody can end up with a Coleman stove in there, white gas, or propane, which,
We really don't want.
yeah. But yeah, you open it up to Pandora's box that anything, a candle, sterno can, you can go to the food line and grab that stuff.
If we change the method, I forget the word, the
Device.
device, did we change it to cooking and preparing food?
Perfect.
I like that.
That covers it.
Yeah,
Covers both hot and cold.
All right,
definitely the same.
So what, are we changing the wording of the amendment?
yes.
We need to go back to the maker of the motion. Restate the motion then, please.
Mr. Motion Maker?
Kitchen means, the motion is to amend the motion to read, kitchen means a space within a structure designated for the cooking and/or preparation of food, which includes a sink and a refrigerator.
Does the second agree?
The second agrees with that friendly
Okay.
amendment.
All right, so we got a motion and a second on the amended motion.
Do you have
any-
it? That's what really counts here.
Yes, does that work?
Any more discussion on the amended?
It's
All
only
in
one
favor?
amendment, right? Only one amendment.
Yeah, he amended, yeah.
Oh,
We're just we're voting on the amended amendment.
Yeah, all right, so, everybody, all ayes?
Yes.
yeah.
All right, so now we go back to the original motion. So, any more discussion?
I have a question. It's not
Okay.
nothing to change. I just wanted to, you know me, I'm always a little unclear on affidavits. So henceforward, once this is in place, I know new things obviously follow this, but will current ADUs need to do an affidavit every year?
No,
Oh, yeah.
that's not a requirement under your current ordinance, so I cannot compel them to do it.
Going forward.
We can make them aware if they'd like to do, like, say, the self-inspection process versus scheduling Jeb and doing all that he has to do in it. We'll let people choose if they'd like to avail themselves of that option.
But new.
New ones will
coming
have
on
to, yes.
Will have to, and
Yes.
if they sell their house, how about if they sell their
Yeah,
house
that's
with
what I
their
heard.
ADU?
What, I'm sorry, if they what?
So,
If they sell their house with
That was
their
gonna be my
ADU.
question.
No, because that's not part of any of the conditions you've placed on the current cups that you've approved.
Yeah.
It just
So
carries
if
with
they
the
got a
property.
cup, it's good.
It carries with the property.
Okay.
and the current ADUs have a conditional use permit,
Yes.
all of them?
I believe we've now caught all the ones that had not been run through the permit system. Yes.
Okay. All right, any more discussion? All right. All in favor for setting a public hearing with the amendment verbiage to the ADU?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I was like, really? We just had this discussion?
Hang in there,
I ain't gonna get that
yeah.
one eye? Okay, moving on. Item P, removal of proffers from several parcels on Casat Parkway. Set a public hearing.
Again, we have, as most of you know, we've had some conversations with a potential developer to consider some workforce housing development off of Old Cape Charles Road. So with that said, he has now submitted a letter with his intent and some of the issues that he has evaluated in its consideration of the property that he's brought to our attention, and one of those is dealing with the proffers that sit on these parcels, both the town parcel, which has been identified as the Keck property, as most people would know it as. The second parcel, which is primarily where he's interested in, is currently owned by General Builders LLC. For the public to know, in front of that large parcel that this developer is interested in, there was a recent construction of a apartment building over there as well. It's right behind that, but it's all of this parcel over here that we're dealing with, so we are seeking the council's approval to allow staff to advertise this for public hearing, to remove all of the proffers that sit on this parcel. These are not proffers that were recently done. These are proffers that happened back in 2008. So, and I'm happy.
If I could add, this is the added benefit of not only assisting the workforce housing project, but this would apply to the town parcel as well, removing any restrictions we have on our parcel. So I support the concept.
So we have a recommendation
I'll
from
make
staff?
a motion that we have scheduled a public hearing for October 20th for removal of proffers as identified in the staff report.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That was a little bit faster. Item C, deed of dedication of water sewer utilities in Village L Bay Creek.
As I indicate in the staff report, it's been a while since the town has accepted a brand-new subdivision, even within the Bay Creek area. So Since I've been here, I have approved a brand-new subdivision known as Village L. I keep remembering which one it is. More accurately now being called Murfield Village, Murfield subdivision, sorry. With that process, we hit the milestone of all of the capital infrastructure is just about finished. The roads, the utilities, the water sewer lines, et cetera, have all been installed. And when the developer came to my office going, okay, we're at this stage, what do I do now? And when I queried back as to what had been the process at the town level before, no one was quite sure what that was. And I felt we should have an established procedure to where we accept the utilities, we accept the work that's been done with some real legal documents that commit both sides to a date of acceptance and how long we have warranties in place, et cetera. In addition, we've had, since this has taken a little longer to work through the process and do the testing and acceptance of those construction elements, we've had now lots getting, of course, sold and wanting to now start building on those lots. So we don't want to hold up that process either to allow that construction work to commence. So we created a third document that we provided for you to review as well, of an agreement that would be signed between the town, the developer, and the owner of the lot that wants to apply for a building permit, putting them on notice that we have not formally accepted the utilities, but would allow them to apply for and receive a building permit application and approval, but not a certificate of occupancy until we actually accept the utilities. So I don't want anybody to race too far ahead of our acceptance of the utilities. So those are the documents before you. So we are seeking authorization. And again, the testing has not been accepted yet, so this is just authorization to the town manager and myself that we can execute these documents on your behalf as soon as we accept the water and sewer systems.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept the 3 documents that's attached to the staff reports, and specifically for Village L subdivision of Bay Creek, and to use these as templates for future.
Second.
Got a motion, we got a second, any discussion?
I'm a little amazed that there was no record of any of the other subdivisions that had been recorded in the past, or maybe they were not what we were thinking we needed to have moving forward. But I read the report as if there were none. And
None done in this
something was
fashion.
done to accept all of the infrastructure into the town's.
Are you really surprised? I was going to say, you've been here a long time. I was going to say, I don't believe that surprises you.
It does, actually.
I want to commend Katie on, as always, kind of getting us in line
Yes.
and ready for and anticipating the future. It's a lot of work and we appreciate it.
So going back to me,
Oh, you really want an
He's
answer?
still in
Oh,
charge.
I'm
I
sorry.
also had a question, and I think I know the answer to this, but I just wanted to be sure that the sanitary lines coming out of there, are they going through the existing pump station?
I'll be honest, I can't remember the particular details that's in the set of as-built, and so that's part of the testing. I can tell you,
I mean, they didn't build a new sanitary lift station.
yeah.
I think it's connected to
So-
the one going into Heron Point.
Yeah,
Because of the way the path.
Good. they need the flow.
So,
All right, thank you.
I have a question. On page 3, on I think it's the first document. And maybe in other cases, they had an adjacent subdivision.
I've discussed this with our developer. That's actually going to be filled in with the name of this subdivision.
The Village L?
Yes, and
Okay,
then in addition,
okay.
I know that this is connecting through the Bayside Village development, and that's where it's attaching into the pipe system from there, and then it keeps on moving down the road, so.
Okay.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just one comment before we move on. I would like to commend the council for your action last month when you formally appointed our zoning administrator. As you can tell from the quality and detail of the last 3 staff reports, she's doing a fabulous job. And thank you, Katie, for all this work.
But not to imply she wasn't already meeting that high standard.
It's just official.
Yeah. Okay, item D, PPEA Consultant Services. Mr. Hosey, I believe that's you.
Yes, sir. As you know, we've been moving quite a way here on our due diligence with regard to the potential utility sale. We have NewGen under contract for some time now. The original contract was about $112,000. As you recall, that contract was invoiced back to the proposers. That was the deal going into it, was that we would split the cost of that effort amongst the proposers. At the time when you selected just one to move forward, that one proposer absorbed all of the costs up to this point. That's what we committed to up to this point. However, we are now to the point where we're exceeding where we thought we were, and additional work is needed, and we need to expand the contract to finish these items that we didn't know if we would get this far before. And again, we didn't know what we didn't know, and we're not skimping on our due diligence. So with that said, we are requesting an amendment to the contract to allow this work to continue in the amount of $75,000. This will be covered by the town, not by the proposer at this point. I am still in negotiations for how we might get some of that back. But for now, you need to accept the fact that this is a town responsibility going forward. It is not currently in the budget, however, I propose to fund it. There's a number of current line items that I would draw from. First, part of the work that remains is to resolve the issue with the annexation agreement. Originally, this contract contemplated doing that work. I may move to our town attorney for some of that, since he is much more familiar with it, and I have room in that budget to absorb that portion of the scope of work. In addition, in my budget, in the town manager's budget, I have $30,000 currently budgeted for professional services, and I have another $60,000 for contingency. So there's enough in the current budget to cover this now, but in all transparency, I will be back at mid-year adjustment to request that some of that be replenished, and then recommend approval.
Make a motion that we authorize the town manager to amend the contract with NewGen Strategies and Solutions for PPEA utility consulting services in the amount of $75,000.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Item E, Planning Commissioner reappointment.
I make a motion to reappoint Mr. William Stram to the Planning Commission for another 4-year term.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second? Any discussion?
Sure you want to do it?
Don't ask, let's just vote.
Yeah, don't ask.
Got him all
Don't
set.
give him a chance to back out.
Thank you.
No discussion. Bill, thank you very much for all you've done and all you
Didn't
continue
vote.
to do. We appreciate it, so
You
thank you.
didn't vote. You haven't voted yet.
I don't know,
He's anticipating,
comment.
but part of the-
Didn't comment.
this is the discussion, so. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you, Bill. All right.
Mr. Mayor, the next item I'm recusing myself from.
Why would that be?
Well, you can ask to be recused.
You can ask to be
Yeah.
recused, we may not allow you.
May I be
Counsel.
recused from the next item, please?
I don't see where it's going to be a conflict personally.
I
can
have no
abstain.
problem with you recusing yourself.
Yeah.
Stay, I can do whatever you'd like to,
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
All right. Reappointment member of the Board of Zoning Appeals. Can I get a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we reappoint Jim Holloway for Board of Zoning Appeals.
Second.
All right, got a motion, got a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Stay.
Thank you, Jim, for everything you do and have done.
I'm sorry, also need to do the appointment as the representative to the planning commission, please.
Oh, for Jim as well.
Because he's the current BZA representative of the planning commission. So rather than having that come back to you next month to appoint him as the representative, if you could just do it tonight, it would be great.
It's a twofer.
It's a twofer. All right, Can I get a motion to appoint Mr. Holloway as the representative from the Planning Commission to the Board of Zoning Appeals?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you.
I think that was backwards, wasn't it?
They probably was.
Yeah.
I do stuff backwards sometimes. You know that. You've been beside me 4 years. Where we at? Oh, Waste Collection Services Contract Extension.
So, Mr. Mayor, more of a housekeeping item. As you know, we put this out to bid last year. This is the second year of a 3-year contract, and it's scheduled to, the scheduled increase is in here, which is $15,000 over the current year. And again, we only received one bid last year, so we recommend approval.
I'll make a motion that we extend the contract for PW Davis disposal for a year, and at the same time transfer funds from sanitation fund balance so that we don't increase rates.
Second?
We've got a motion, got a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable with the transfer of funds to subsidize the increase in rates. I would say at this point, the majority of the customers would not need that subsidy. And I'm not sure it's in the public interest to do that. I mean, if we were gonna subsidize, say, an effort to expand into recycling or put that money towards new trash cans as needed, but, you know, considering that, you know, what probably the majority of these people at this point have paid for their homes, I don't feel the need for us to subsidize Bay Creek, second homeowners, with the increase. I think we could find a better use for that money.
Should we just subsidize the homes in the historic district? Second?
No, no.
I didn't pay
I
for my
believe I
house.
said all
Well,
customers.
but you pointed out Bay Creek specifically. I just wanted to,
Oh, and I also said all the ones, second homeowners, I believe, apply to a lot
Oh,
in town.
it's all one sentence.
As do the recent high prices certainly apply to in the historic district. So I believe that was clear.
So, Debbie, clarify for me, I thought at budget time, we knew this was coming. Didn't we budget for this increase?
We budgeted for an increase, but not 8%, 8.5%. I wasn't aware. Usually, it used to be the tipping fee, and that's what I was,
It's usually 3 or 4%.
it's usually the tipping.
Oh, because we didn't know what the price in CPI was going to be.
Right.
That's right.
So can someone explain what the increase would be per customer?
Right.
I missed
It
it.
would be,
1830. or
No.
1830.
it would be actually a few cents more than $1. It would be $1 if we started it, in July to change. So I think we have to do a public hearing to change the rate levy.
I don't know.
We'd have to find that out. I'm not sure how quickly we could change the rate, so we'd have to catch up for a few months.
Yeah, we never changed the rate mid-year.
Yeah, so.
But we-
And
but-
then
At least $1.
my next question is, what is the sanitation fund balance for? I know it's for things like new trash cans. What else is that fund balance used for, or why do we have it?
We have it because back when the town was, had trash collection and the trucks, and it's just been sitting there all these years. $160,000 of it is in the budget this year for the town portion of the trail project, and that leaves $80,000 left.
So it's
I-
it's basically money that's been sitting around for quite
Yeah,
some time.
it has, and we actually had this discussion during budget time about this excess money. I don't have a problem with it going towards this instead of setting a public hearing and all that stuff. I mean, it's been sitting, correct me if I'm wrong, Ted, it was sitting there and it was kind of just fine that we just kind of had it, like in the past 4 years. We knew we had it, but we really didn't
We knew
know
it was
all
there,
the
but
details.
nobody thought about using it.
Right, so,
Is it out of fund balance?
It's just, it's in the fund balance, just writing.
For trash.
yeah, for trash.
Or
And
can be used for trash?
it can be used for trash cans and stuff like that as well.
Then let's use it for trash.
But if we were gonna subsidize something, we could
It's not
subsidize an expansion into recycling, rather than just
recycling costs way more than $1 a month.
I know,
Previous
way more.
citizens-
But I
And-
was saying,
and-
if you want to take the edge off, I have a problem with
It's not
handouts to
subsidizing
wealthy
it, but it was,
people.
that's what it's there for.
Well, I don't look at it as much like that. I know what you're saying.
That's fine, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I just look at it as it's just kind of it's money that's been sitting in the town coffers for years and years. And I mean, the trash truck went away back in 2007 or
Yeah.
2008, so it's kind of been sitting there that long. And it's just been sitting there, let's use it for,
Previous citizens were the ones that paid into that.
Correct.
So
yeah, I mean, even if it was previous or current or whatever, they were still citizens. It's citizens' money, so.
Well, I'll do it just basically like the electrical.
We're homeowners.
Or the electrical co-ops, when basically they overcharge, they pay it back, so it's the same principle. So it's really not, I don't see it as, basically subsidizing, it's basically giving back, even though they're new customers here, it's part of a fund
It is
balance.
subsidized, and it would cover maybe
not
half of the
subsidized.
additional cost of recycling.
But I don't think that the infrastructure's not ready to recycle. They could
Yeah,
put
that's
things
the
in
problem.
two separate bins, it's all gonna wind up in one
Infrastructure.
bucket.
They only
So there's
use
more to recycling than just
paper,
separating at the
Yeah.
curb.
It went up
Then save it
from-
until we can use it for that.
It went up
I don't think it's a
from
responsible
5
use
to
of funds, but that's just my opinion.
I appreciate the explanation of the fund balance, because I didn't really have an understanding. I'm okay with that. I do caution that we not get into a habit of that, because obviously there could be a time that we do need it for something.
Yeah, we would never plan on this. We did try to budget for this increase, but we didn't anticipate the inflation being as high as it was, and so.
Well, in years past, there's always, since I've been here, been one bidder for this contract, because he's the only game in town. Previous contracts had a defined rate increase each year of the 3-year contract. This is the first time I think we've gotten one that had it tied to the consumer price index. And inflation is a little bit out of hand at the moment.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
FY 2023 budget amendment.
So, Mr. Mayor, we do have a minor correction. We did have a typo in an account number on the spreadsheet for the utility fund. The engineering services for sewer, the account number was listed incorrectly. It should be 501-4502-3420. So the 3420 was incorrect.
It should be 34?
It should be 3420. It's,
Both of those lines?
well, see, one's for water, one's for sewer, so they should both be 3420.
Okay.
Apologize for the typo. And thank you to Mr. Grossman for finding it for us.
I'm so surprised.
Well, I'm a little dismayed. He continues to find these kinds of things that are so minuscule, but should not be happening. So, good for him, but bad for us. I mean, we got to be a little more diligent in keeping these accounts accurate.
Agreed.
So I'll make a motion that we transfer these funds as shown in the staff report with the noted change on the budget accounts as we discussed.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, time manager comments.
Just a couple of things. I wanted to ask, as you know, you've approved and we're moving forward with a park upgrade in cooperation with Citizens for Central Park for the family game area. Part of what we agreed to do was put up a fence in that southeast corner. One of the things that CCP realizes that, especially when there's so many events there that have alcohol, and every time you have to put the tape up, and it just doesn't look good and it's labor intensive. So what we'd like to do is, since we're putting a fence up on one corner, while we're doing it, and we got a contractor here, let's just do the other 3 corners too, you know, and just kind of dress it off with the same style fence. CCP would like is willing to do that, but asking for us to fund half the cost. It's not that expensive when we bring everything back in. It's about $6,200 would be our portion of it. It's within my authority to do it. There's money within the CIP contingency for me to fund it. So I don't necessarily ask your approval. I guess I'm telling you this. That's what I intend to do unless I hear an objection tonight. So, any objection? Okay, thank you. Also, I'd just like to get your concurrence that I've been requested to submit a letter to the county administrator on behalf of Main Street to assist them with this never-ending process of trying to get a sign put up for Main Street designation. So I just need to send something to the administrator that says on behalf of the town council that you're okay with it. We just want to put it on Stone Road, coming in right as you come into the town limits, just past the 25-mile-an-hour limit sign on the north side of the road. So I don't suspect you have any problem with it, but I just wanted to be able to tell you I intend to send that letter to Charlie tomorrow. I put this in my weekly report, but I'll mention it here just so you hear, for sure you hear it and the public hears it, because I was a little annoyed. The Kings Creek dredging project was canceled, and we were not notified. They were supposed to start the day after Labor Day. The day after Labor Day came, we didn't see any activity on the beach, so we contacted them, and that's when we found out that the bids came in more than double, and so they couldn't afford it. They shelved it for the year. They're going to rebid for next year. So anyway, we're not going to get sand on the beach this year. So
So it
that-
wasn't because
that-
of the Tiger Beetle.
no, it wasn't because of
Remind me, who's paying for that?
which for clarification, we have a man-made beach. We are not limited to the tiger beetle issue.
Exactly.
Who's contracting to have that done? I can't remember.
I'm sorry?
Who's contracting to have that done? Like, is it
It's
Kings Creek Marina? Is it
No,
Terry's?
no,
It's the AMPDC and the county.
Okay.
well, it goes farther than that. There's actually a committee that actually takes care of all like all the creeks and stuff up and down the shore and the western shore as well. So it's a dredging committee that's started all.
Thank you.
And then just the last thing, I just want to remind the council that I will be taking my annual trip north to get my cabin buttoned up for the winter up in Alaska and get to see my grandkids, at least the one that didn't come down this summer. So I'll be going Saturday to Saturday. We'll be reachable as usual, and I'll be doing some other work while I'm gone, but I will not be in the office next week.
You gonna early vote up there?
Have fun.
Yeah.
Don't be caught in a snowstorm.
Yeah. It's peak fall colors in Alaska right now. So it's a good time to be at my cabin. That's all I had, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Ms. O'Brien?
I've got nothing today.
You got nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Really?
Talked out.
Okay. Mr. Grossman?
One item, just an update on our Kip to Peak Inn. We had taken a tour and I mentioned that we saw samples and prices and sizes and what have you. We've been trying to get the school board to also have a tour, and it's been like pulling teeth with this crowd. They've now contacted them to talk about a tour in December where they think they will have more units available at that given time. So they're moving along very slow. I've notified the Bridge Tunnel people as well as Coastal Precast and trying to get them also into that tour. But I'm just kind of disappointed at the snail's pace that has been moving there.
How many units are available there now?
100. They had one sample.
And so if 10 people showed up, they've got one place for somebody to move in? or-
No, they don't want to use the model.
They only have like 2 or 3 guys working.
Yeah, they have their own people working, and it's,
Yeah.
Oh, they're already ready right now.
It's an old building. It's gonna take time.
right. That's all I have.
Mr. Fulmer?
Nothing.
Mr. Bennett?
I have nothing.
I have a few things.
You got 5 minutes.
Well, I I know that I said it at another meeting, but since Bill Strand is here tonight, he is the new president of Cape Charles Main Street and has started July 1st and is just doing a fabulous job and working with Karen. And Patsy Harris is the vice president. So, and the exciting part about that is that there's several new board members coming in into different positions, so there's some new volunteer energy there. We had a successful fourth annual potluck dinner. We just had a 2-year hiatus in between the other 3. It was 200 people that participated. So thanks to the town of Cape Charles and Central Park for helping to partially fund that and do it. So it was a really great community end to the concert series. I had a question about the ice cream social. I didn't see it on the list, but we have that.
It's on there.
It is.
It's on there. I think it's the 20th of September.
Yes.
It was in the email that I sent out to you Friday afternoon.
But it's not on the announcement.
This went out before
Okay.
all that was
I
done.
was like looking at you guys like,
Yeah.
there's not a September on that.
Yeah.
Okay, just so that the that we start to let the public know.
I'm doing a special gazette that's gonna go out next week.
But we'll do it on Facebook and stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And that's September the 28th at 6:30
6:30 to 8.
at,
At Strawberry Street Plaza.
oh,
Cowlitz.
nice.
Calyx will be sponsoring.
Awesome.
Nice.
And then the last thing is a little confusing, but I'll try to explain it clearly. And it's frustrating. We've been going through hoop after hoop after hoop with the Virginia Tourism ARPA money. We had, as you know, we got $40,000 and we had it designated for different projects. And we had been given the go-ahead all along. When it finally got to be putting into the system, they rejected the train project as possibility because it cannot be completed in the time period, the 2024. Even though it's a phased project and the phase 2 would be completed during that time. So we've talked with the Tourism Infrastructure Commission that is through Northampton County, and we're going to do a little switcheroo with money. So we're going to get train money through that and get bathroom money through ARPA. So I have one more hoop to go through tomorrow, I think, to get that completed. And then we should be good, and because the bathroom will be completed by 2024. So it will happen.
I know you've been working yourself to death on it, thank you.
Well, me and a lot of others, but I'm just like determined as hell. So it'll be good. All should be good. I haven't gotten final approval that we can get the additional train money from the infrastructure group, but I'm hoping, because we've already gotten started on bids and things like that for it. That's all I have.
Which one holds?
Yeah, I do have something. I attended last night's, the citizens group, candidates forum. And this goes pretty much out to them. There was a lot of questions asked, and I really don't think most of the constituents really understand the amount of work staff puts in, all the stuff that we do. So, not just us, the staff. The staff is the big one, because anytime we change something, i.e. parking was a big thing last night, to change that, it's gonna involve planning, zoning, probably legal, even though we've got approval to do stuff. We gotta, they gotta take and realize the burden it puts on the staff, and it's a tremendous amount, plus all the other stuff. So the term low-lying fruit came up quite a bit, and there is no such thing as that, because the amount of work that goes into that low-lying fruit is mind-boggling. So I just want the citizens to realize that we basically do the legislation, but it takes the staff to enact it, and it takes a lot of work. And we do have priorities that we have set up over the years, and I just want to give my kudos to all the staff. You guys have done a tremendous job. Public Works has been understaffed for a couple of years. They've done a tremendous job with what they have. Katie, what you've done in such a short period of time, plus what you've had to deal with, is just phenomenal. Deb, the stuff you do, incredible. Just the sheer volume of that, just going back and forth with that. And then Libby, with all you do, with going through all the meetings, helping John out, doing all that stuff. It's just unbelievably a large amount of work, and I really don't think the townspeople, residents realize how much work it's done.
And not just in implement, also in preparation before it comes to our desk. I had no,
Correct.
I thought I was pretty up on things. I had no
It's
idea
a
the amount of work
phenomenal-
for staff just before anything comes to us for
It's-
discussion.
It's just a phenomenal amount of work that, yeah, we would love to try to take care of everything. Doesn't matter how much staff we have, it's just the sheer volume of it. We're growing, so kudos to all you guys. Just want to make sure you know that. We greatly appreciate it.
I think one of the things that I found most disconcerting last night is the inability to express that we do multiple things at once. There are many multiple things that are happening. And I hope that as the staff listened to that today or heard it, or they weren't listening, because we are working on many, many things at once.
I think part of the problem is that people don't realize what's going on because we are really poor at communicating it.
That's not
And
true.
that, I
That is
disagree.
not true. And this is my time, by the way, please.
Yeah.
It's my time.
Okay,
Please don't
Kamala.
interrupt and don't say that, because it's not true. We do communicate way more than most people do. We do all sorts of avenues of communication. People do not come to these meetings. It's more frustration. Half the stuff that was on that agenda last night was already in the works for the last year. So we do our jobs. We're elected to do this. It's their position to come in here, and if they want to be a part of it, they can be a part of it. If they choose not to, we don't need backseat drivers. We have too many of them. So all I'm saying is, this is going to staff for all the work they have done. And it's a tremendous amount of work. I'm telling you, that's just my comments for the night. That's it. That's all I got.
For me, I was actually going to thank the Historic District Civic League for actually putting it on last night. I couldn't attend. I've watched a good portion of it on Facebook. And thank you, Libby, for being here to make sure it goes on the Facebook. But anyway, yeah, I mean, there were some things, like priorities and stuff that, you know, and I made a comment on the Facebook page. We set priorities based upon funding for one and staff for two, and what's reasonable to get done. And we've done it. We've done it for the past 3 years. This council, sitting here on each side of me, has took steps with strategic planning and stuff that's never been done before. I mean, it really has. It's amazing of what the staff and the 6 people I sit up here with has
The
accomplished.
resident surveys.
Huh?
The resident surveys guide us too.
Yep. So it is, and I think, you know, when it comes time to go through strategic planning and it's time for setting priorities again, if you don't like number 6, request to move it to number 4 and stick with it. I mean, it's, that's the gist of it. The other thing, I'm gonna tell you, I was a little bit aggravated this week. 9/11, I got a text that our flags was not half-staff. I apologize to the citizens of this town. It falls directly on me. I am the mayor of this town. It will not happen again. I can assure you it will not happen again. It's been corrected. And I know there were some circumstances of why it happened. We will cover it from here on out. With that being said, I do know there were circumstances of why it happened, but still, 9/11, there are certain things that the flags should be half-mast for, and to me, that's one day that it should be. It's many days, but that's one. With that, got a few announcements. Town council work session, well, come have some ice cream with us September the 28th at Strawberry Street Plaza. Yep. I think it's 8:30. No, I'm kidding, 6:30?
What'd you say, 10:30?
No. October the 6th, town offices, town council work session and/or special meeting, 6:30. October the 10th, town offices closed, state holiday, Columbus Day, Yorktown Day. October the 15th, town offices closed for Smitty's birthday. No, I'm kidding. October the 19th, Cape Charles Rotary Club Candidates Forum. October the 20th, Town Council regular meeting. October the 27th, Public Forum joint meeting with Town Council, Planning Commission, and Historic District Review Board. October the 29th, good old Hootenanny at the park. Woo, Hootenanny. Hope to see everybody there. I do want to say, these announcements are probably going to get longer, as we just got our schedule for the next 3 months, and it's nothing but meetings.
We're gonna
So-
spend a lot of time.
If you're going to take a trip, it's going to be small, council. Anyway, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Opposed?